phone is connected to the camera, and let's run the image app and select the remote operation. Confirm the lens extension. Okay. Now the upper screen is the display area. It listed what the mode, flash, video recording format, and the image format, the autofocus information. At the bottom there's exposure information here, the ISO, because it's auto, so that's auto, 0 EV, and f 3.6 1/80th second. This is the display button. You can hide those information on the top and the bottom. And normally I just leave it on. This is the button for the quick menu. When you press it, there's a list of menu item will show, and the list is depending on what mode you have selected. And currently we have selected IA, the intelligent auto mode, and it has the shortest list. We can select the photo style. There's only monochrome or standard. And the aspect ratio, and we'll leave it 3:2. Picture size, large, medium, small. And the picture quality, you can find JPEG, standard JPEG, RAW and fine, and RAW and standard, and RAW. Video record quality, there's lots of selections here. There's a different format, MP4, the AV-CHD, and MOV, from 4K and 1080p. Bracket, and now the bracket type is off, so you click on it. You can use exposure bracket or focus bracket. If you select exposure bracket, and it won't let you drill down further. But when you return, and you have more options. Now you can select how many steps you want, 3, 5, 7, and each step and what's the exposure stop you want. The 5-1 means 5 steps and 0 EV, -1 and +1 EV, and -2, +2. So totally take 5 pictures. And then you can select the sequence of the pictures output. You can have 0, minus, and plus, or minus, 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 0, plus, 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 like that. And you can select how those pictures been taken. It's one tap to take those 3 or 5 or 7 pictures, or you can select one by one. If you select focus bracket and then you return, now you have more questions about the focus bracket. How many steps you put one step at a time, and totally how many shots. So now I selected 5. And the sequence is the same thing. 0 means the sharp focus, and then over and under. Here is the control menu. On the control menu, there are 2 buttons on the left. The first one is controlled either when you point to focus and shoot at the same time or not. For the cross here, that means not. So you have to point to focus and take the shot. But if you select this, and once you point that, that's done. So normally I will leave it off, so I need to press the release button to take a shot. The lower button is the AE lock, the exposure lock. And select this, and you can point your spot to take the measure of the light instead of the average. And once you pick the spot, you say set. So that will lock the auto exposure to make sure that spot is in the right exposure. To cancel it out, click this off. On this control menu, on the right side, there are 6 buttons there, and only one is active because that's only the option we can change via the app in the IA mode. So that's what we can change the exposure compensation. We can select more brighter, darker, or you can drag the slider. This is the bracket, so you can have your bracket set here, the exposure bracket. 5 pictures, each one for one step, for one stop. Now let's switch to the P mode. Now the P will show up on the top left corner on the camera as well. This quick menu. Now we have a lot more selections here. Besides the photo style, picture size, quality, video record quality, and bracket are available for the intelligent auto. And now P mode, we have a lot more different selections. You can select a different effect, and I'll leave it no effect. Even the same item, you still have more choices. Now we have vivid, natural, and monochrome scenery. In the IA mode, we have only the monochrome or standard. For the control menu, now we have more buttons available. We can select white balance, and the different one, the sun, the cloud, the shade, and indoor. I'll leave it automatic. And ISO, you can select ISO. Now I'll leave it 125, and that's the autofocus mode. You can select pinpoint, one area, custom, face eye detection, tracking, 49 area, and a whole bunch of things. And now I'm going to use the pinpoint. Exposure is the same thing, like IA mode. Now the P, you can choose the different settings. By default, it uses the largest aperture and pair with the shutter speed. So you can change. The yellow means you can change. The white labels are not changeable. So you can select the dial here. If you want to have more picture, all the objects are clearer, and you can select the smaller aperture and the slower shutter speed. So now when I focus on the bear, it displays the magnifier window to show the detail of that one, that particular area. But if you press this button, you can have the whole screen magnified. And then you can pinpoint to say, yeah, I want the nose of the small bear. And then hit the exit. Now take the shot. And then you can change the focus point on the cable car. And take a shot. Now let's change to the A mode, the aperture priority mode. And we can see the same quick menu. The control menu, we have the similar icons there. Now but this time the label of this button changed to F. So now the F, it's settable, and the shutter speed is not. So we can change the aperture, because that's the aperture priority. And then the shutter speed will be selected automatically. Now let's change the mode to S, shutter speed priority. We can see the quick menu is the same, but the control menu, now this icon changed to SS, shutter speed. So when we select that, and we can, now the SS is in yellow, the F is white. So we can change the yellow one. Now if we change to 1/15, the aperture will become 5 automatically. If you're getting slower, the aperture will get smaller. Slower and smaller. But when we get too much, it will not go further. That will be overexposed. Now let's change to the manual mode. M showing up here, and the M showing up at the camera. In manual mode, the button changes to F and SS. and the exposure compensation button is disabled. Let's see, what's this one? So now both the F and SS are selectable, so we can control everything by ourselves. And once we change this, the exposure meter will show now it's one stop short. And when we can have a longer time, now it shows 0 EV. So if we change the large aperture, there's 3 stops over exposed. So we can shorter the time to make sure 0 EV, that means proper exposed. And that's it for now.